All right, everyone, I think we're live. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hi, I'm Ann Mandler of Ann Mandler and Ann Magazine, which is ANNE magazine.com, and also annmandler.com, and my last name is Mandler. So today, I'm really excited that you're here because there are 4 things I've been teaching about a lot lately and thinking about, and I want to share them with you because I think they're really top of mind today, especially with people that I'm working with. And they're just really useful with almost any business that you're working in. So there are 4 things. The first one is really finding a mentor and listening to that person, finding someone who resonates with you. And the second thing I'm talking about is brand and what to do with that brand when you're really just not sure. Some people really overthink branding, and so today I want to talk about, how to hit that nail on the head without overthinking branding. And then the third thing is following every day with, what am I doing in my business, the straight on thinking, why am I doing it, and what am I doing to grow that subscriber list? Because that really is, one of the most important things that you want to be doing and paying attention, especially if you're a new business owner online, is thinking every single day, like, what can I be doing? And I know there are a million things to do to grow your business, but in terms of revenue generation, it is crucial, it is key that that is top of mind for you. Fourth, how am I going to do it? So there are a million ways to slice an apple, and so let's start again with finding a mentor and how to do that. So if you're new to early stage of starting your business, your online venture, the one thing that I can say is there is so much noise out there right now. There's really, a million people that you can learn from. I encourage you to find, 1 to 3 to 4 people that really, you resonate with, and you like their learning style. You actually like them as people. There's a grid that I like to refer to when hiring a person or when following a person, learning from a person. And the grid is like so super simple. I should actually write it down here and share it. But there are, super smart people. I think this was shared. I will have to give another presentation on where it was shared. So there's kind people. There are people who are not kind. There's smart and less smart. And this kind of comes across as being really super generalized. But when I show you this, this grid here, you have the choice of, all 4 of these attributes. And you can actually choose to interview and hire as well as follow people who are both kind and smart. It seems like I'm, teaching preschool here when I say this, and I don't mean that in any other way other than like, duh, is she really saying that, there's like less smart people out there? Yeah, it's not even about that. It's about, are they teaching what you need now? And is it worth hiring and or following them? And the not kind part, I don't get that. And this is my own thing. I know that there are people who make a lot of money who don't care who they hurt, what they do to make that money, how they get there. I say, like, for me, I don't even mess with these people, like the not kind people. Sorry, you can be brilliant. I'm not really interested if you're not, if you're not someone who's nice to be around. Okay, so that's me. You have to do what's right for you, right? So number 1, you can find these folks online. I'm putting together a resource list on my homepage for people that I really like to learn from. Of course, I teach my own classes and help people find that passion, find what they want to do, and really develop it more from a later beginning stage to an intermediate stage of business. And this is mostly online. There's a couple brick and mortar people that I work with. But other than that, I mean, go out and find someone who you get lit up about working with, listening to, following, sharing, and growing with, because it's really about that passion and that that interaction that happens that you can really learn the most from people. You know, it's that light you up. So number 2, branding. I think that right now is also a very hot topic in terms of, you know, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do. I think that the rules for branding have actually opened up a bit more today. And if you are your online brand, you just have to remember that you are that person who is driving, you know, everything that your audience wants to follow. And so the main thing about brand is, you know, don't overthink of it. You need to really be authentic. You need to, you know, follow your own heart and voice when you're talking about the work that you do, and the passion is going to come through in that message. But don't overthink your brand, especially when you're starting out. You know, do what feels right to you, do what makes sense to you, and find someone who can help you if you have specific branding questions. I was just on a call where this discussion was just really lively, and they were talking about, you know, things that you can do to make yourself stand out. And we're talking about, for instance, like way that, for instance, a way that you could market a program or an ebook or something that digital that you're selling. And I think that, again, talking about you and talking about the way that you're presenting it, being authentic again to yourself, and doing it in a way that is not so much like confused about what you're doing now. You have to be pretty on point about what you're about, who you are, what you're selling, who your audience is. If you can speak and get clear on what all of those things are, your brand is naturally, it's going to sift through, kind of like, you know, you're digging in the sand and you're trying to find out like what's going to sift through. Everything else is going to fall back into the sandbox if you don't do those 3 things and you get really strategic and authentic about who you are. Overthinking it also can be, an example would be like, I want to fit in with what everybody else is selling right now. So I'm also going to run this same deal or this same ad in the same way that, you know, another company is. No, you don't want to do that. You want to think strategically about who you are and what you're selling and who you're selling to, most importantly. And those 3 things will help craft and make your brand authentic and make it a useful tool for the rest of your business, which it is. It's the backbone of your business. 3, I really want to talk about your following every day, and the thinking about what am I doing every single day to grow my list, to grow my subscriber list. So if you're new to business, again, your followers, the people who are on your, specifically your email list, are the people who are going to be your buyers, the people who are, you know, following you in some way, are reading your content, are learning about what you're doing. Those are the people that you want to keep really engaged. So again, every day thinking about, you know, what one thing can I do today that will keep people intrigued and curious and engaged. So again, you don't have to do it all at once when you're starting out. And I go into this much deeper in classes that I teach. But for now, just remember, you know, baby steps and one thing a day that you can really do that is an actionable item, because action gets us so much further than sitting there and debating like all of the million things that we have on our to-do list, right? So those three things are really important. The fourth thing is, you know, ties into what I was just talking about, not just, you know, what am I going to do, but how will I do it? And what's the best way to do it for me? And, you know, I think a quote that I think about pretty often, I could quote Maya Angelou, the late writer. She has so many fantastic quotes that she has out there. One that I love is, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And I think that this so beautifully captures everything about brand that I've been talking about today. There's a story, a very unique, perhaps untold story in each one of us. And that story could quite well be your branding story. You know, something that makes you unique. It doesn't have to be something that you make up. It doesn't have to be something that feels like it's the thing to do out there right now. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, this person is really popular because they went from having no cash at all to this multi-million-dollar business. And I've heard that story quite a lot lately. And frankly, that's an uncommon story. So yeah, it's great to tell if that's really you. But if that's not you, there's so many magnetizing, fantastic, engaging, beautiful stories that, you know, each one of us has. And, you know, one story that I like to tell that really is the creation, or how I got started and found the desire to build my business, comes from, you know, me not really knowing what I wanted to do. So I had an incredible drive and persistence, the desire to go out into the world after college and figure out what that was. But I, even in school, had a really hard time focusing in on what the major was. What was it that I wanted to learn? Because I think it felt so definite to me. And I think to a lot of people, we kind of like pigeonhole ourselves into, oh my gosh, like I choose one thing and that has to be it forever. And that's really not true, you guys. It's really, there is so much freedom and so much flexibility in today's world, more so than any other time in history. I think you have the opportunity to taste test, test drive, whatever you want to call it. You have the ability to sample different things that interest you and then take it from there. So what I did, even, you know, during my degree program, I really sampled all these different areas: business, psychology, behavioral psychology was really interesting to me. Music, I was a DJ. I worked for several different stations and I had a production company. And, you know, I was doing things like, you know, playing and hosting parties and playing, like, you know, the music that I would play, just to give you an example of, like, you know, it can be any niche: psychotrance, breakbeat, old school, hip hop. I mean, like, these were things that really, really lit me up. And did I go and make a career as a DJ? Well, I'm not still doing that, no. But I kind of turned each one of those passions into something that had greater longevity. So, for instance, I will never, the desire and love of music, for me, that will never die. That is something that I still incorporate in my business today. Sometimes when I'm writing or I'm producing content, I'll share a little bit about, you know, what I'm listening to when I write, or something I think you should check out. And so, you know, I think you can be creative. Again, I think creativity is what drives innovation. And I think that you can incorporate more than you thought into this business that you're building. So again, I went from music to education. I taught both at the university level as well as elementary. And I was quite young when I was doing this. I was really investigating, what is it that I want to continue to do? Went on to work in the legal field, doing both like traditional legal work, patent, copyright, trademark work, intellectual property law, and just felt like, okay, I don't think that the lawyer track is for me. And I really respected people who would just go right through law school. And here I was like taking all these LSAT tests and trying to figure out what it was. I moved from law into marketing and feeling like, okay, making the transition from, harder traditional legal work to legal marketing, and then marketing onto tech and hardware and software, cybersecurity, working for, some really big companies like Apple and Symantec. And honestly, back when I was doing that, the focus or the talk would be around like, does she even know what she wants to do? Like, how do we pinpoint her? How do we, harness the energy? Because I was really trying to figure out, where am I taking this? And, as it turns out, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, which, looking back, has this long, like, divergent track record, right? It's not one straight line. Like, I was in that job and now I'm here. I used every one of those experiences to really, to add life to what I'm doing now and to teach me about what it is exactly that I want now. And so I'm just hoping that that's not boring for you to hear, but it's more inspiring, and knowing that that you can take any place that you've been and turn that 180 degrees or 360 degrees and make it what you want it to be business-wise. So again, the things that we're talking about is like, what's inside you? And if you have a story inside you, I'm leading up to, another story, which is in 2007, I had just left a corporate position, and my family and I were going to go and live in Germany, in Berlin, for an extended amount of time. And we got there. And again, was I crazy to do this? Probably so, but not knowing at the time, and I had an infant and a toddler with me. I was a new mom, and I didn't know that my body was under extreme stress. So when we were in Germany, we got there, going to set up base camp and our business in the city, and I found out that I had severe adrenal issues and fatigue, and because of the language barrier, I couldn't quite pinpoint and get myself to where I needed to be to heal there. So I had to come home, fly back to California, and figure that out. And that was its own process. But because of that process, and because I only got stronger from going through such a severe welcome into motherhood, that I'm able now to really learn so much from that experience. And that experience really fostered and sparked my desire to build a business that that could support me and beyond. And so I encourage you to do the same thing. If you, no matter where you're at in your business, just be reminded that your personal story is interesting. Put it out there, make it you, because it is about you. And try and also, there's another cliche that Maya Angelou, a wonderful quote from her, but people talk about it as a cliche, is really, try and be the rainbow in someone else's cloud. And I think it's so important. Like, I can't talk how much light you can bring to someone else, how much you can change a life if you're just exuding positivity all the time. You don't have to be perfect, and your business doesn't have to be where you want it to be yet. But if you can remember every single day to be, exuding the positive and incorporating some light into someone else's day, it makes such a difference. Don't dwell on the negative stuff. Let that stuff go. Really just find someone who can bring you that light, follow them, and do the same. Be everyone else's lantern is what I would like to say. So thank you for being with me today, and listen to me go on about these 4 different areas. Telling your story, finding momentum and listening to the people who care about you, finding people that you care about in return was number 1. That brand strategy, having a strategy to what you're doing. So in other words, again, really taking what it is that you love, what it is that you excel at, and combining, whatever it is that your business is about, and not overthinking the brand, because you have time to really mold that into something fine-tuned. Listening and being authentic. Talking to your following every day or every few days, just being super consistent is what it takes right now online to be top of your game and to be competitive. And, figuring out ways to do that work for you. It doesn't have to be everybody else's way. Again, with social media, find the platforms that work for you. If you're not excited about Twitter, some people would argue with me and say, no, that's where you have to be. I have to tweet. Find 2 or 3 areas that work for you, that your people hang out, and target those and stick with them. And really, you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be the most consistent. And you have to be, you have to find that passion and that light. And that is what the beacon that is going to propel you forward. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. So much love to you. Thinking about you and your business. If you have questions, you can reach me at AnneMandler.com. It's AnneMandler.com. You can also reach me through the magazine, which is AnneMagazine.com. And just thinking of you, wishing you the best possible day for your business and your life. Enjoy and infuse a little joy in someone else's life today. Thanks so much, you guys.